Hi, everyone. It's Friday, and hopefully you're feeling just a little bit less stressed and ready to start your weekend. So I'm Gio with Geo Balance. I'm your community news health coach and life coach. I am here today to talk about balance and specifically around wellness, not just for yourself, but around local business owners who also want to get involved with employee wellness around retention and thriving. But before we start, I have two amazing colleagues with me today that I want to introduce to you and so that you get to know them a little bit better. So to my right here, I have Aileen Castellano and I have Monique, and I know I'm going to get it wrong, Catoggio.
Pretty good. Almost.
Wonderful. So Aileen, let's start with you. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, your connection with Miami, and what do you do?
So thank you so much again, Gio, for having us here on your show. So my name is Aileen Castellano. I'm a high performance coach, and lots of people ask what that even is. And really, I help families, individuals, and businesses to stay in balance, right? And have that work-life individual balance and self-care and self-talk. And so all that comes around with that. And in Miami, I've been working with a lot of the small businesses. I'm a business owner myself. So helping businesses, especially with everything that we've gone through for the past year and a half, how to stay in balance, how to retain their employees, and actually now how to even bring them back to work. So thanks, Gio, for having us here.
And are you from Miami?
I am originally from Brooklyn, but I am here. I've been here since I'm 10. So I'm not going to age myself. I'm not going to give years or numbers, but so Miami's been home for a really long time.
I love it. Okay. So Miss Monique.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. I am a Miami girl, born and raised. Left for 4 years to FSU to do my undergrad and came back home and started my career here. So I've been in Miami all this time. Love South Florida. I also am a coach. I'm known as the mindful leadership coach. My focus is leadership, and not just leadership in the workforce, but helping individuals, professionals, executives learn how to lead from the inside out, which in order to do that, we have to be increasingly aware of ourselves. We have to know ourselves so well so that we can show up as a whole person, you know, in all areas of our lives, to be able to find that happiness, to be able to be productive, and ultimately just be good citizens of life, right? And do what it is that we're here to do, show up, share our gifts, and make the world a better place.
Yeah. And so today we're really going to talk around wellness and how that kind of fits into balance. And as you know, today, a lot of us are struggling with different things. And so our goal today is to bring you some wellness tips, as well as some things that you can put into action. And really, it's about support, because a lot of people don't really ask for help. But when you look to mentorship, which is what a coach does, we can bring you a lot of support and things. And so today, when we talk about the workforce and everything that's happening and a little bit of how we're feeling, let's talk about what we're hearing out there from people, what they're experiencing, and where, we can come in there and really help you gain clarity and then help you to move forward. So let's talk about a little bit of what we're hearing out there today that people are experiencing.
So interesting you even bring that up, Gio, because one of the things that I keep hearing from clients is, first of all, they had to go through all of the changes last year of having to stay home and working virtually and having children at home and teaching kids and still trying to balance their own performance at work and performance in their family with their spouses. So in that tension and that stress that was created, a lot of residue is left. And so we get to support what it is that they're still going through now that schools are going back and a lot of the companies are calling their employees back. Now it's another transition, right? So it's been a lot of transitions and there's a lot of fear behind that, because every time that there's something new, it's like, wow, so how do I figure this out without missing for my spouses or somehow not being there for my children? So a lot of emotions and a lot of buildup around those emotions. And so supporting what that is for individuals is huge.
Yeah. Monique, would you agree with that? And what else would you add?
I agree 100%. I think what I'm seeing is that this has really affected everybody, right? So the leaders themselves, the CEOs of the companies, like everybody had to deal with this new normal. And guess what? It's not normal. we're still not there. Every single day is different. Every single day we have to figure out how are we going to manage, ourselves, our children, and our organizations. So what's showing up is the opportunity, really, for all of us to learn how to be flexible and flow. I use that word because I really believe in it, that when we are able to take a pause, take a deep breath, and just look at what am I experiencing right now? Let me not worry about yesterday. Yesterday's gone. Let me not worry about tomorrow. But how do I have to show up today to support myself, to support my kids, and also to go back to work and figure out what does this new form of balance look like? Because what I've heard from a lot of my clients is that, they were living in a certain way. And they had perhaps been working on their balance already or achieved a certain sense of balance, but now it all changed. And now it's starting to change again. So how do we, find this seesaw of new balance that allows us to feel okay and just be agile and kind of find that flow so that we're not losing ourselves and not adding more stress and overwhelm to something that, it already exists because of the pandemic.
Okay. And so let's take a look at an example of, I'm a local business owner, right? I run my own business, and I am used to thinking that wellness is a little bit too personal to approach. But today, I really believe that it should be a strategy for every local business owner. Why? For retention and for thriving. So let's talk a little bit about that. How, as a business owner, can I get involved, or where do I even start in supporting the well-being of my employees, knowing that they'll probably appreciate it?
Yeah, I'd love to jump in here. This is so important. And I think a lot of business owners and companies think that they have to do something, extraordinary or spend so much money and resources. And the reality is that employees look for certain things from their leaders, right? We're not necessarily looking for the money or the corner office or all of these perks, but can I trust you? Are you providing me with hope? Because life is hard sometimes, right? Are you compassionate? Do I have an opportunity to really sit down and just have a conversation with you? Do you know me? Do you really know me? Do you know my circumstances? Do you know my life? Do you know my strengths? And so I often tell business owners, what's the structure of how you connect with your people? That is a great way right now to just create forums where you're talking with your individuals. Employees are speaking with each other so that they don't feel alone in everything that they've been through. And now the changes of coming back slowly into the workforce and how that's going to affect their life today. So that's one easy way of just having the dialogue, open communication, and building a really trusting environment.
Yeah. So what you're saying is a very simple solution is just ask how they're doing.
Yes.
Like, what's going on in your life?
Yes.
Do not being afraid to feel like you're crossing that line, because again, with all the changes that happen, there's really no line anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And so something I'd love to add to that, Chio, is one of the things that I love to encourage is conscious conversations. And conscious conversation is something that I feel was lacking to begin with. And we have a wonderful opportunity now as business owners to integrate that in the modality of how we get to serve our employees. I mean, at the end of the day, they're serving the company, and the bottom line is a reflection of the production of the employees. So conscious conversation is helping them collaborate and co-create and work together rather than being in competition.
Yeah.
Working with Wall Street employees, for example, in corporate America, one of the things that I learned is that there was so much competition all the time. There were no friendships, right? It was like, I've got to be better. I've got to do more. And it didn't allow for employees to really collaborate and work together and just be there for each other, because it wasn't about team building. It was about, I've got to be better. I've got to hold this power. And so really introducing conscious conversations to the local community and employers, I think is going to be, again, just another tool that we want to encourage so that we can continue to build the employees, the employers, and the companies. And really conscious conversation is just that. It's being present with the person that's sitting in front of you. Let's have this conversation. Let's make sure that we're taking care of each other's needs, right? And so one of the things that I know working with humanity, right, with humans, is that we all love to be appreciated and acknowledged. And so going back to what you were saying, Monique, it's just being there, making them feel special, making them feel that what they're doing is a good job, or if it's not, encourage them. How do you make them become better, right? We always want to elevate others. And so I think as employers and business owners, that's our duty.
Yeah. And so I heard 2 nuggets for everyone to take away, and that is the conscious conversations, and that it's just really simple and not overdoing it, not thinking that you have to have this over elaborate strategy, in that, let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to the fundamentals. So now let's switch it back to being an employee. So a lot of employees now, like you said, Monique, are getting that call and saying, okay, it's back to the office, like no more working at home. So as an employee, how can I prepare myself again for that transition, for that fear and comfortability, and, to go into that the best that I can, knowing that, yes, it is going to be a little rough. There's some things that are going to happen, but what can I do?
So, this gets personal for me because I did, I had one career, and I ended up switching my career because of an experience that I had. And what I ended up realizing is that, I have to be my own leader. Right. And so there is, of course, a tremendous amount of responsibility to business owners to take care of their employees. And there's a lot that they can do. But each of us is our own leader. Right. So we have to look at our own personal responsibility. And that starts by asking ourselves, those questions, having a conscious conversation with ourselves and saying, how am I feeling right now? What doesn't feel good? How can I feel better about X, Y, and Z? Right. So having that inner dialogue, that self-awareness is really important. Second thing is know what your priorities are. When we are already stressed and overwhelmed, it's really important to literally sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and say, what are the big buckets? What are those things that if I only did those 3 things a day, that I would feel successful, I would feel on purpose, and I can come home, engaged and happy and spend time with my family. So, in order for a person to flow, they need to know themselves really well, okay, where they're happy, where they're not, what's working, what's not. And what are the priorities? Because the minute we get back to the office, things are going to be thrown in our lap, and we need to be able to really prioritize so that we can, keep a tap on that stress and overwhelm. Okay. Priorities are really important, and focus. Focus and priorities are a couple things I would recommend.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that. Aileen, anything to add?
So I'd love to add the self-care and the self-talk. So self-care is something that we feel that we've got to continuously do things and always be there for everybody else. And we forget that the number one person that needs to be taken care of is ourselves. And so going back to what you were saying, Monique, self-care has to be a priority. I believe that it's supposed to be on that priority list that we have. And also self-talk, what do you say to yourself, or what do you say about yourself? If you're saying, well, I'm not good enough, I did it again, here I am, I'm a terrible mom, or I'm a terrible employee, then you're going to be just that. So really being aware of what it is that you're saying to yourself about yourself is going to be very important, because this is another transition. This is another way that you're going to get to show up, and how it is that you're going to be successful at work, and as a mom or a dad or as a sibling, whatever those roles are in your life. But it is very important that the awareness, and what I love, because if we're going to take something out of what happened last year, or the year and a half that we've been in this situation, is the self-awareness of our values. And so what I hear from a lot of clients, which I find to be so positive, is that we did pivot. We pivoted either in our businesses, or we started a new role somewhere else. But more than anything, we also got to decide what our true values are. What are the real important things in our life? Can we do away, with that vacation, or do away with that car, or do away with, buying clothes every week? So we really came into a place of consciousness of understanding what are the real important things in my life that make me happy. And we go back. So that is self-care, that is self-love, that is self-talk. And so really encouraging that awareness. And as everybody starts to transition back, is to keep those very present. And I love what you just said, Monique, put in a journal. And those to-do lists that we used to have before, where there were 20 items, and then when we didn't fulfill them, right, because we could only get to 3, then, just write a to-do list that only encompasses 3.
Yeah.
So that you're not feeling like you're always behind the 8 ball, and that you're always in that anxiety, that you are successful in the things that you manage and that you tell yourself that you're going to do.
Of course. Yes. And so as we continue talking about wellness, what we find is that wellness is such a big bucket, right? And it can be overwhelming. And so what we're trying to do today is just really break it down into small little pieces where you can start taking small actions. And so one of the things that we've also experienced in the last 18 months, almost 2 years now, is time, right? A lot of us have lost that concept of time because we lost a year. So now we look up, October's next year. I'm not next year, sorry. October's next week. I'm already advancing. We're 3 months away from 2022. So I'm curious about, what is your hope? What do you want to see in 2022? What do you want to bring to light? And what maybe some advice that you have for our viewers coming into the new year?
Yeah. I think there's so much hope. I think what this pandemic has done is made us all equal, right? Titles don't matter.
Oh,
How much money
so
we make
great
doesn't
and
matter.
powerful.
It's going back to the meaningful things. And I love to say, if we can continue to go slow, to go fast, if that makes sense, right? Just recognizing that today is all we have. And that allows us to really, again, just take a deep breath and pause and focus on what's the best me that I can be today. How can I show up today to make a difference in my life? Because we do need to put our face mask on first, in the lives of my children, whether they're near or far, the people that I work with, right? And just focus on what is truly meaningful and how I can feel successful every single day is the best, I think, that we can pull out of what we've all been through together, take that into the workforce and remember our humanity. Remember that we're brothers and sisters in all of this. And if we take care of ourselves and allow each other to shine in our own unique ways, we're going to create magnificent workforces and businesses that are going to continue to show up in this community in Miami and, and elsewhere. So
Wow.
Keeping that present, going slow to go fast.
I love that. Okay. Yes. Aileen.
I did too. I love that, Monique.
Yes.
That
I was like, we can stop there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I would love to add today is also, when you're talking about wellness and well-being, is one of the things that I'm encouraging is, let's get out of our mind and our thoughts, right? And let's get into how we feel, right? We were in this trajectory where everything was, and I work with clients, so I'm constantly listening to their language. And so it's like, I think this and I think that, and this is my opinion. It's like, well, with everything that's happened, what do you feel about what's happened, right? What is it that is bringing you joy? And I think for a long time, we were just going and doing, and in this pause and being in that neutrality, we've recognized the things that were killing our joy. And now we're all going back to thriving, right? We want to thrive in finding ways and things that bring us joy. And if they don't bring us joy, then we don't want to do them anymore.
Right,
yeah.
And so we want to continue to encourage, just because we're going into 2020, we're going, I'm not doing that one again.
No.
No, it's not a redo. So 2022 is going into a new year with that mindset is, okay, what did I learn? How did I expand, right? Because it's been a year of expansion. How did I expand as an individual, as whatever those roles are in my life? And then what are the things that bring me joy? And when we live from that place of joy, guess what? We're in a vibration that everybody wants to be around us.
Yeah.
It's like being around that person is like that Debbie Downs is like, oh, no, I don't want to talk to them today. But then we find somebody that's vibrant and somebody that's in this high vibration. We want to be around them all the time. And so it's our role to not only see it in others and elevate others, but to see it in ourselves and project that onto others as well.
Oh, yeah. And listen, ladies, I could talk to y'all for hours about this topic and connect. So as we start wrapping up, our audience today, the word coach is associated with athletics. And as now people are becoming more aware of what coaches do, and all three of us are coaches, and how we are really a support and a guide to reaching the results and goals that you're seeking. So as we wrap up, one, tell us how, if anyone would like to get a hold of you, how do they do that? And what is the one thing that you'll leave them with? So who wants to go?
I'll start.
Okay.
So yes, I am a coach. I love being a coach. And the value of a coach is that we often don't pause long enough to hear what we're saying to ourselves, right? And so a coach sits there and creates space for you and sees the things and hears the things that you cannot see and hear. So we provide that outside perspective. And most of us come with a varied but very deep toolbox of ways to support you in your personal development and professional development, and in your businesses as well, as far as teams are concerned. So the best way to get a hold of me is my website, which is under construction, but you can still reach me through there. And it's fiercelyflowing.com. And the one thing I will leave you with, and I think it's a thread of everything we've talked about today, which is really pay attention to your energy. The energy that you bring into your home and the energy that you bring into the workspace or in any gathering where there's someone other than yourself, that makes you responsible. That makes you responsible to how that energy is going to affect another person. So pay attention to how you want others to feel in your space. It's going to elevate them and it's going to elevate you.
Perfect. I love it.
So for me, one of the things that I would, so go back to the questions you said.
Just how they can get a hold of you.
Okay.
And coming from a coach hat, what would you leave them with?
So as one of the things that I became really good doing when I was a marriage and family therapist, seeing tons of people a week and doing the coaching work that I do now, is a lot of times I feel, Gio, that sometimes people don't want to work with a coach or they're intimidated by working with a coach. And so really what we do is that we bring advisory, right? We advise you and we show and teach perspective. So sometimes we're in a situation that we are not aware how it could be impacting us in a negative way. And so when you get this outside perspective, we're going to help you to redirect whatever it is that's going on in your life. And typically those are the aha moments. And so watching people with that look when they got it and it just clicked is definitely what fills me and fills them as well, because that is the shift. As a coach, one of the things that I think is important also for our viewers and everybody that's watching and listening is that we've also been coached. We're coaches.
We have multiple coaches.
And let me just point out how I met these two ladies, that I actually have hired both of them on my own personal and professional journey. So yes. And one of the things that I probably would say is, if you consider hiring a coach, make sure that they too believe in their own philosophy and are being coached as well. Because as you ladies know, we can only take you all as far as we've taken ourselves.
Oh, beautiful,
yes.
Gio.
Yes.
So how can they get a hold of you?
So you can find me on my website. So it's aileenc.com, and it's spelled AILEENC.com. And I would love to leave you all with one of the things, and again, going back to coaching and being coached and being coachable, is asking for help. You're not here to do it alone.
Yeah.
By doing it alone and putting all that stress on yourself doesn't make you better, doesn't make you stronger, more powerful. It just makes you drown and really delay the process of a healthy well-being that you all deserve to be in. So definitely ask questions, search for the right mentors, the right coaches, people that are aligning with your values is very important. And just go out there and be successful.
Yes, absolutely. Because if there's one thing that we all have in common, and that is that we all are striving for success.
Yes.
Definitely. And I think the last thing that I would add as a coach and what we offer is that we're never going to tell you what to do.
No.
Right? We're going to reframe what you already know that you have inside, and you know what to do, and we're going to help you get into action. I love to say that the difference, what makes a coach is that we take you from wanting to do it to I did it.
Yes,
Right?
yes, 100%.
Yes.
Action is important.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yes.
So yes. So today we were bringing you the theme of balance and how well-being fits into that. There's so many parts to balance, but well-being being one of those very highly talked about topics can be very overwhelming. But we hope that today you took away a few nuggets. And what I'm taking away today is that within us balancing our lives, we get to focus on wellness by having conscious conversations, not overthinking it and realizing that things are really simple. Ask questions with your employees, right? Take care of yourself and ask for help because anything's possible. And we'll all see each other in 2022 as we continue to do what we need to do. So
Awesome.
thank you, ladies, so much for having, well, for not for having me, for being with you.
Thank you.
Yes, let's do this again.
Sounds
Yes.
great.
I
Thank you,
love it.
Gio.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Y'all have
Thank
a
you.
great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.